All right, we're going to go over Chapter 2, Medical Assistant. Chapter 2 is vital signs. Okay, some of these vital signs should be good and familiar for you, but again, as a certified medical assistant, to get into this class, you need to have some kind of healthcare certification or healthcare something. So hopefully some of this will be old news to you. So you'll be in game for Chapter 2. So they're giving you vital signs. Have I given y'all a vital sign sheet yet? I will get you that. But here are your normals or averages for temperature, 97.8 to 99.1. Blood pressure, 120 to 180. A lot of people know about that, 120 over 80. Respiratory, 16 to 20. Heart rate, 60 to 80. If it's out of that range, it needs to be reported to a doctor, a nurse, or whomever you're up under. So they may or may not do something for you. The equipment needed to take your vital signs, you need a thermometer, sphygmomanometer. And what is a sphygmomanometer? Does anybody know?
What's a what?
A sphygmomanometer.
The little thing that's on the blood pressure pill with the numbers on there, right?
That is actually what the sphygmomanometer.
I thought there was kind of mixed too.
It's page 15.
15?
Sphygmomanometer. That is the actual thing that actually has the numbers on it that does the blood pressure. And then your stethoscope. And then your watch. All of those things are what you need for vital signs.
Yeah, vital signs at the top page.
You just find page 15.
It's great number.
The 15 don't have it now. This is R2.
You're in the wrong book. Body temperature. Medical assistant. Body temperature. Body temperature refers to the amount of heat produced and sustained by the body processes. Changes in the body temperature are usually indicators of underlying problems. So if you've got a high temperature, probably got a fever, something's going on with you.
You know what?
The metabolism of nutrients generates heat within the body. Underline that. The metabolism of nutrients generates heat within the body. So what generates heat within the body?
Metabolism.
There you go. And that sentence right up under that, the production and loss of heat are generated and controlled in the hypothalamus and the brainstem. Underline that, star it, know what you gotta do. Because then a little further on, we're gonna learn a lot about the brain and what the brain does. And that, number one, that heat is controlled in the hypothalamus and brainstem. Fever is usually caused by an increase in heat generation. Something happened. You can have congestive heart failure, any kind of things like that can cause an increase. An unusually low body temperature, something's going on. And again, hypothalamus, underline that, hypothalamus. When we think temperature and an unusually low temperature, something going on temperature-wise, that's that hypothalamus. Something's messing up. It's the itty bitty, it's in the middle of your brain back there, and it will it controls that temperature. And hypothalamus is very important. Come on down, the average adult temperature is 98.6, and the most accurate is taken rectally. So if I ask you what's the most accurate body temperature, rectal, and it's always 0.5 to 1 degrees higher than your oral, always, because it's gonna be higher. Your oral is actually not connected to the core of your body. This is the core of your body, your trunk, and you actually have the neck in the way when you do oral. But when you do rectal, it's going straight in your core, and this is your core. And it's gonna be 1 degree higher. That next little few paragraphs, pull this out of there. Oral temperatures can be affected by smoking, intake of food, drinking, chewing, as well as breathing. And if your mouth is open, so you always tell them to close their mouth when you're taking temperatures through the mouth. Always. Air seeping in, breathing can mess up your breathing. Variations due to outside factors. Again, they're going to talk about food and drinks will mess it up. And if you intake a lot of food and drinks, your body temperature rises as well, because your body's going to start working trying to break down the food, so body temperature rises. Alcohol may show a decrease during the day and increase at night for your body temperatures. And we really see that when I was working at Detox. You could really see the temperature changes. Physical activity, of course, we know that. How hot you feel after you done did a good old workout. You hot and heated. Increase. Your emotional state can have increases in your temperature. People's temperature tend to drop throughout the night. So on a general, when we check your blood temperature, you're going to be, your temperature lowers. At night, your temperature is always lower. Higher temperatures might mean that you've been sleep deprived, or maybe you've had insomnia, something like that. But most of the time, you're going to see even that last sentence. Having poor sleep quality or even insomnia can lead to decrease in temperature. But most of the time, you're going to decrease in temperature anyway. Just when you think sleep, just think decrease in temperature. That is your general. Methods of measurement, page 17. Sites used for temperature measurement. There's all kind of things. We already know most of them. Oral, rectal, tympanic. Where's the tympanic? In your ear. You got the tympanic membrane, so they call it tympanic. You got your axillary. Where's that? How about on the skin of the forehead? We actually do that as well. Back in the days, we did a whole lot more. When they put the little strip and the little color shows up, knows what temperature you are. In the gut by swallowing. Anybody been in that procedure where they actually swallow the temperature? It must mean something if your stomach's hot in there. But they will measure that as well. And over the temporal artery, that's the one that they stick on your forehead. Don't even stick in your mouth. Then they kind of rub it, and then they end it right here. That is your temporal. So all of those can measure your temperature. I'm gonna actually give you what I want y'all to remember, but they stay within the same. But do remember that your rectal is 1 degree higher than your oral, and that's the most accurate temperature reading.
Your rectum is what?
Most accurate and 1 degree higher than your oral. Liquid filled, those are the ones that, they look glass thermometers with the little gray stuff in it. That's mercury. They've changed it recently because mercury is toxic, and then when it breaks, you actually need to call in a toxic crew to clean it. But you leave that in your mouth for 3 minutes. Underline that 3 minutes at the bottom sentence there. 3 minutes, and that's going to give you your measurement. They don't like to use the mercuries anymore. Underline, because it is a toxic metal. But it's most accurate. It'll tell you what your temperature is. Since glass thermometers are designed that the temperature will not increase once removed from the patient, the reading will remain without change until the bulb comes in contact with something that has a higher temperature. So when they take it out their mouth, it will actually stay at that temperature. So you can read it. Because if it, most of the time you take it out of somebody's mouth, you would think that the temperature goes back down. You got to read it real fast. But it actually stays there. Until you do a shakedown. Underline shakedown. And that's when you shake the little stuff you think, I don't know what you think they're doing, but all they're doing is they're getting that mercury back down. And it has to go at least below 95. And underline that. They call it the shakedown. But that's what you're doing. You're getting that mercury to go back up under 95 degrees. Then you can do it again. So they call it the shakedown. Of course, we got our electronic. You stick it in your mouth, you hear a beep. You be yay. If that thing is messed up, you may stand there forever while it's stinking. I've had that. And you're like, oh, let's just get a regular thermometer because we can't even sit there that long. You get so used to things just popping out and it just be so quick. You don't even want to wait that 3 minutes either. But we love our electronics. And just make sure it goes all the way in the mouth and to the side. There's far back. Now contact, they're the ones, they're talking about contact thermometers, ones that goes on your forehead or anywhere else that is just touching the skin. And remote, there's actually those as well that they can just scan, and it's some technology they use, and they can tell you what temperature of your body it is. You can see that a lot, even when they're doing scans of the brain, and you see all them different colors. Some of that is based on temperature. Night vision, you know, when you see heat, you can see better. They use the technology even, overseas when they're fighting, trying to see people. They looking for body signatures. So all kind of uses for temperature readings, and that's that remote temperature. Basal body temperature, you use a special glass basal thermometer, and underline it measures basal body temperature. And we're going to talk about it's over here. Basal body temperature. That's the lowest temperature that you would get throughout the day. That just it measures basal body temperature. But we're going to actually underline what is basal body temperature on the next page. So we know what temperature is. If you have a fever, that's something going on with you. You got a whole list of things that could be causing that. Infectious diseases, medication, immunizations. You get real hot after you take your flu shot. Heat exhaustion, tumors, all that and the above can cause a fever. Especially infectious. Infectious meaning something's got hold to you and your body is trying to fight it, so it increases the body temperature. And that's why you will have a higher body temperature when you have an infection going on. What we can take was the easiest and best, ibuprofen and acetaminophen, which is Tylenol. Ibuprofen and Tylenol. Same thing they're going to give them babies. They might, if it's real bad, they'll tell them to give you Tylenol every 2 hours, ibuprofen every 2. And because it's normally supposed to be every 4. But then you just stick the other medication in there and it helps with temperature. Core body temperature, that is just exactly what it is. It means what your core body temperature. Normally they can stick when somebody dies, that's what they do. They stick the thermometer into the liver, and that's telling you what your temperature really was. And the liver will tell it all. So that's where your core is. Basal body temperature, that's where it is. I want you to underline that. The lowest temperature attained by the body, usually during sleep, is your basal body temperature. And they use that and try to base everything on your sleep temperature. The lowest temperature attained by the body. That's why they don't mind coming and bothering you at night trying to get your temperature when you're in the hospital. They're gonna, if they're really trying to figure out what's wrong with you, they want that temperature to see the differences when you wake up or how it changes throughout the day. Hypothermia. Know that hypo meaning low. Anytime you see hypo, it's going to be low. And hypo means anything under 95. And write that down in that little square. Just write it. Under 95. Hypothermia. Under 95. Something done happened and got you really, really, really cold. People, when they get stranded or get in that cold ice water, people jump in that for recreation. But that can give you hypothermia. Hyper is just the opposite, and it is anything over 104. Heat strokes, some medications, drugs, all kind of stuff can cause hypothermia. And we don't want to go there. Dehydration, so drink your water. Kind of like a motor in your car. If you don't give it water, what's it gonna do? It's gonna run hot. So make sure you're drinking your water as well. At 104, that's brain cells start dying. So we don't need that. We need all our brain cells. So know your hypothermia, hyper and basal body temperature. Come on over to blood pressure. Underline that first sentence where it says, blood pressure is the pressure exerted by circulating blood upon the walls of the blood vessels. So it is the pressure exerted by circulating blood on the walls of the blood vessels. Also, blood pressure normally refers to the arterial pressure of systemic circulation. Underline that. Fancy words saying the same thing, meaning we're checking the pressure in the arteries of the body. Anytime you see systemic, it's going to mean body. So put those together. Arterial pressure of the body. Come on down. Blood pressure drops most rapidly along the small arteries and arterioles. You've got to know how your body is formed and what happens. It goes to your heart. Your heart pumps. So right there at your heart is going to be your highest blood pressure. Anything behind that is going to get lower and lower and lower and lower and lower throughout your body. So right at your heart, that's that highest blood pressure. Anything going away from that is going to be lower. So in your aorta, that's coming right out your heart, it's going to be a big old pressure. Then after that, it lowers. Then you're going to go to the arterioles. Then after your arterioles goes through your capillaries. And then through your capillaries, it's going to go to the venules, which is just little veins. And then to your regular veins, which are veins. But through that system, as it goes down, the blood pressure goes lower and lower. So remember that. It's also affected, and underline this, by valves in the veins. Goodness. Valves in your veins. It's also affected by gravity. That's why when people are on high blood pressure pills or if they're laying down to sitting up, they may like, hold on a second. It's because your body has to readjust because you just changed gravity. So you got to change the blood pressure. And sometimes people get lightheaded during that time. So we got to always watch our patients when they're coming from lying to sitting or standing position. Always, because that blood pressure changes. And we're going to check that blood pressure. Where we're going to check it at? What's that artery called? The brachial artery. That is your brachial artery right here on the side. And we're going to know it's an artery because it pumps. Same. Go a little bit on your phlebotomy. If something is pumping, if it's got a pulse, do we stick it?
No.
No, because there is a artery. So y'all, it may be sticking out there, but feel it. If it's got a pulse, don't fuck it. Because once you stick it, that one, it's harder to clot because it's got so much more pressure to it. And it may just scare you to death because it may just back up for you and you'll see it. And with that heart, it's going to just come straight out. And it's going to scare you more than anything because you'll be able to stop it. But it takes much longer to stop than our vena punctures, our veins. Veins done went through the whole little process and it's got lower blood pressure. Arteries got more blood pressure. So don't do it. Y'all will scare your own self. Just make sure you apply pressure and wait till and do not leave at all until they stop bleeding. Literally. And I think I'd wait 10 more minutes. Just make sure they really stop. So just make sure that systolic, what does it mean? It's the blood pressure at the time when the heart is contracting. So what's the heart doing? Systolic. This should all just be familiar to you. I hope so. Systolic, that's the working part of your heart. That's when the heart is working. It is contracting. And just know that. Don't go digging so much in it. But it is when it's contracting. Also, diastolic. Always think dying down. That's your lower number. It is when the heart is in relaxation or dilatation. Underline both of those words. They like that word dilatation. So learn that word. It's opposite of contraction.